All right, guys. Well, this is a very special treat. We are in their house right now in New York. I feel like it's kind of like visiting the Queen in England. I feel like we're here with the King of New York right now. He is the Jake LaMotta of podcasting, the Gringo Mandingo,
That's right.
White Mike, Hollywood superstar, classic actor. I am Rapaport stereo
That's
podcast.
right.
We're in the house of Mike Rap. Mike, thanks for having us,
Oh, of
man.
course.
In the post fight, I suppose, vibes after UFC 230 at Madison Square Garden, sacred grounds in New York, all over the world. So things there was a lot on the line last night, and I
Yup.
know you were cage side. So let's begin the chat by talking about the main event between Derek Lewis, your man Derek
Yup.
Lewis, and Daniel Cormier. I saw you were cage side. I saw some Instagram stories, some Twitter stuff. Tell us, what did you think of the fight?
Well, I think the fight went the way, like you were kind of like inevitably scared that it would go that way. I was, rocking hard for Derek Lewis, for the Beast. That Cormier is highly skilled, and you know that Derek is about like, throwing punches. I was glad that if he was going to lose, that it was like that. It wasn't like he just got, he got submitted. That was it. I wanted him to sort of come out throwing earlier. I was watching him closely, and he made the iconic statement about his balls being too hot at the end of the last fight. And I wish his balls at the beginning of the fight would have been warmed up. So I felt like, because he's so big, he's like an 18-wheel truck, and I wish like, his body. I always remember Sugar Ray Leonard, when he would do the commentating on the fights, he would say, I want to see if the fighter comes out in a lather. And I was watching Derek, and he came out first, and it's about 2-3 minutes before Cormier comes out and all the hype and Michael Buffer and all that stuff. And he was just standing. So if I was his trainer, I would like time it, however his body needs to warm up, like, when there's 3 minutes till actual ding, to be like, so when the round starts, he's throwing punches because his body and the way he fights, like he needs, like, especially in that fight, he needs to start quick and throw, and whatever happens, happens. That being said, I'm not a fighter. It's easier said than done, but I would have just liked to have seen him catch him a few more times, even if it was with some jabs. But Cormier is a great fighter. It's not the end of Derek Lewis. I was talking a lot of shit. It's Madison Square Garden. It's the same arena. The arena has to move. It's the same building where Ali fought Joe Frazier. And I was like, yo, Cormier, if you're the champion, give him one round, stand up and go toe-to-toe like Ali and Frazier did. You're in the same roof. There's still DNA from that fight in that fucking building. That's real. So I would have loved to have seen that. But listen, it's easier for me to say that. But I was talking, they could hear me. Like his brother or somebody who looked just like him was over there. And they were, I was in the friends and family section. And somebody said, you're in the friends and family section. I said, I'm friends and family of fucking Beast. And I'm here for fucking Beast.
What kind of stuff were you saying?
I was saying, yo, DC, stand up and fight, man. You don't be a champ. Don't be a chump. Like, they could hear me. I'm like 20 feet away, and I was catching it in between the crowd verse. And I just wanted to, like, see if I could instigate him to stand up a little bit more. I know they heard me. He heard me. Like I said, I have nothing but respect. It's hard not to like Cormier, but I wanted Beast to have a chance to catch him. But, again, it's about winning. It's not about standing in there where the guy who if he hits you, it could end so quickly. That being said, it was a great night. It was an exciting night. It's Madison Square Garden. All the fights that I saw were good. And Cormier, I think the way it looks, he's going to fight Brock Lesnar, that fucking lunatic.
What are your thoughts on him? What do you think about Brock Lesnar?
I don't respect him. I don't respect him at all. That one guy that he fought, I can't remember the name of the guy that he fought, but when he was being on the steroids. And
Mark Hunt?
What was it?
It was Mark Hunter, UFC 200, yeah.
It's like you're Mr. Wilderness, Mr. All Natural, Mr. America, and you're on fucking, you're on fucking steroids. And, you're like Mr. Like, I train in the woods. You don't train. You're in a fucking lab. So I think he's like, just a big bully. I watched him, the guy who beat him for the belt. This is years ago. Quickly. I can't remember who it was, but he fought Lesnar, and Lesnar was all cowered over in the corner. So I'm not that impressed with him. Obviously, he's another guy who's big and strong, but I don't even think he has the punching power of Derek Lewis. He has no stamina, and I just think he's a bully. I think Cormier will beat him, and then they're trying to set. It seems like, excuse me. It seems like inevitably it'll be Cormier versus the winner of Jones, and so it'll be good. I'm not like a hardcore like, UFC fanatic. Like I follow it. I'm not one of these, people like, who knows everything about it, who watches every fight. I watch a good amount. I'm a fan. I have nothing but respect. And when you're watching the fights like we were watching it last night up close, and it is such a privilege to be there up close, athletically, you're just like, you're watching these guys and there's no moment to lapse. It's not like basketball. You could take a play off or, the play's over there. It's like the fucking thing is happening. It's like life or death, the whole thing. So I just can't even imagine the adrenaline and the stamina and the skill. And, when you're watching like the guys that are more grapplers and you're watching it up close and you're seeing the way they're moving, it's so calculated and they're so well trained. And I love it. I love the sport and being there up close. It's a real privilege. I don't take that shit for granted. And one of the reasons why I try not to go to those events too much is because I never want to be like, oh, it's another fight. Like when I go, I want it to be special for me. So it was dope being in the Garden, the world's most famous arena. And it was a fun night. It was a fun night watching the crowd, seeing some of the fighters that weren't fighting, and it was cool.
On a side note, one of the more funny and entertaining aspects and sort of narratives going into this one, your boy Derek Lewis getting Popeye's chicken behind him. A couple of guys from Australia like us getting our first chance to try Popeyes. They do fantastic stuff. DC not appreciating that because he's a massive Popeyes fan. So he's gone to the dark side, Carl's Jr. Who do you think the Carl's Jr. Twitter, they changed to Carl's Jr. / Daniel Cormier fan page. Who do you think sort of came out better, got the better end of the stick?
Listen, they should both. The thing about that fight, it's like as much as I wanted Beast to win, and I was talking shit to Cormier. It's hard not to like Cormier. So they should both get a check from their respective companies, Carl's Jr. and Popeyes. I want them to both, live off the fight that they give us, the fact that they give us so much entertainment. And they're both good guys. So, I want Cormier to continue to kick ass, and I want Beast to continue to have opportunities to kick ass.
You mentioned John Jones. He's had a bit of an interesting run. We saw he was in town for the press conference. He basically said that he doesn't believe that Daniel Cormier deserves a title shot and will have to fight contenders because he knocked him out.
He's another guy.
What do you make of him and his legacy and what's been going on?
I love John Jones as a fighter, but he's another guy. You could say I know, like, he's got that fucking edge. He's got that fighter's edge. But, you fucked your shit up. He could have been the Michael Jordan, the LeBron James, if you will, of the UFC. He could have been that guy. His fighting skill, his charisma, his looks. He's American. He fucked that up. So all his complaints and, that's on him. And I'm a huge John Jones fan. I fuck with John Jones hard. And he's one of the people that I fucked with for a long time.
How hard was it for you when he had his last PED issue?
It discredits it. It discredits it. As much as I fuck with him and I'm a fan, it discredits it. And I was rooting for him against Cormier. Like I'm a John Jones fan, but so listen, he's a shit talker, which I like. I'm a shit talker. So it's like, I get his side, but it's like, you fucked up your legacy in terms of tainting it and went from being like the golden boy of UFC to sort of this, like dark cloud figure. That's on him. He knows that. There's time in front of him to do it, to change that. The Gustafsson fight was a fucking brawl. And I remember tweeting. I tweeted saying I either called him Drago or I called him Gomer Pyle, but I said I think John Jones is gonna knock out Drago or Gomer Pyle in one round. And then lo and behold, I was like, this tweet didn't age well because like that shit was fucking nuts.
I think John Jones thought that as well. Apparently his training for that fight wasn't the best.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. They have the rematch. I would love to see John Jones fight Lesnar more than I would love to see him fight Cormier. I would love to see him fuck Brock Lesnar up. I would love because John Jones, I think, will be in such control of that fight, and he could give Lesnar the beating that he wants. Where Cormier, I think, will win, but I think he has to fight him more. Jones can just do so much different shit to him where he could really embarrass Lesnar, and that I would love to see.
Sort of on the other side of things, you've got Khabib Nurmagomedov trying to angle for this fight against Floyd Mayweather, which is just insanity, right? Surely it'll never happen.
If you think the Floyd McGregor fight was a joke, this will really be a joke. I mean, this will really be a joke because Floyd is Floyd. No one even thought that Khabib was a boxer. Up until because he was punching Conor, but he's not it's two different sports. It's like Michael Jordan playing baseball, and Michael Jordan's a freak athlete, and he wound up doing good as a minor league baseball player, but he never made it to the major leagues. Conor McGregor was carried in that fight, and then Floyd, it won't even be as good as that fight was. It won't even be as exciting, It shouldn't happen.
Who would you rather see Khabib fight? GSP? Somebody else at lightweight?
I think GSP's done.
You don't think he ever comes back?
I think he's done. I think that once you've lost, once you've had injuries, there's no coming back. There's no coming back in high-level sports. I don't think there's coming back in fighting. This is my opinion. Boxing, you can carry fighters. You can have matchups. UFC, I don't think that there's carrying fighters. These guys are fucking killers. So, yeah, GSP could fight some bums, but Khabib will fucking kill him now at this point in his career. That's my opinion. So, I mean, personally, I would love to see Khabib beat the shit out of Conor one more time. That'd be the fight that I'd like to see first and foremost. Who are the other Khabib fights?
You got Tony Ferguson.
That'd be good.
Be a good fight. Who else is on there? Ben Askren, who just got signed to the UFC. He's trying to angle for a big one. He was at the fights. You would have seen him.
Oh, he was there. I didn't see him.
Yep, he was doing his thing. And then there's always the fact that he cuts a lot of weight, so there's some welterweight guys up the top as well that might want to take him on too. You've got your, Nate Diaz's. And
Nate is my guy. He's one of my favorite fighters, and he's had such a sort of run of bad luck. Like, this guy got injured. He was going to fight. Conor ducked him. I don't know why he's considered such a bad guy. I think he's great for the UFC. I don't know all the details of it. I don't give a fuck. Like, a guy like that who's a brawler, who talks shit, he's an underused, undervalued star in the UFC. And I think when you bring people into the audience, you fight hard. He fought Conor once. He fought him the second time. There should have been a third fight. I don't know all the details and why and this, that, and that, but he's not top tier star, but he's just underneath that. People fuck with Nate Diaz. He has that Jake LaMotta quality. He has that everyman quality. There's a relatability to Nate Diaz. And I don't know why he doesn't really get the shine. Some of it might be on him. Some of it might not. But, you should get value. There is value in being a good shit talker. There is good value in, that this guy's coming to fight. There is good value in having an Instagram following. All these things. And then there is good value that when he gets in there, he's not tiptoeing. He comes to fight. So, I would have loved to have seen, I don't know how they match up, Nate versus Khabib, But I just feel like Nate deserves more credit than he gets.
It would be a very tough matchup for Nate Diaz, but I think the build-up is something that a lot of fight fans would like to see. As a fight fan yourself, what would you sort of like to see next for McGregor? Who do you want to see him fight next?
And also, we noticed on Twitter, you've still got the display picture of McGregor getting his face punched.
Yes, why is that? Why'd you go with that?
I would love to see McGregor fight Khabib again. I know Khabib would win. I think McGregor's run and reign is done. It happens to fighters. He's an incredible fighter. He's a gallant fighter. And I like him too. But to me, like his whole thing, he's smart. He's a businessman and stuff like that. But, I don't believe in great white hopes that aren't in movies. Like Rocky I love, Rudy I love, and all that shit. But I feel like, like a certain sort of like the image of Conor McGregor and Notorious, what is it? What is this Notorious? What is this fucking shit?
Notorious, yeah.
Yeah, but the Notorious, whatever the fuck he is.
And he's got the whiskey as well.
Then the whiskey and the fucking proper whiskey and all the bullshit. And I like the shit talking, but it overshadowed the fighting. So he had a great run, but I think his greatest years as a fighter are done. I think getting those 2 wars with Nate Diaz, the one he lost and the one he won, I think getting punched in the face all night by Floyd Mayweather didn't help. I think Khabib exposed him, because the last thing any of us thought was Khabib was going to stand up there and punch him in the face, catch him with overhand rights, lead rights. So, he's not going to take a small fight. I would love to see. I mean, a Khabib rematch would be insane. It would be fucking insane in terms of the build-up and all that stuff.
What do you think the build-up would look like? Obviously, they would use the brawl footage, but would you see Conor McGregor sort of going to the politics and going after his manager and going as crazy as he did?
I think he would talk shit, but like Khabib is obviously like, yo, I don't talk shit. Like none of this stuff is banter and fodder. So I mean, it would look like Conor has to do that to get himself up. I mean, what's the word on that? Do you think that's going to happen? You guys have the inside scoop.
Well, he said he's open to fighting other people outside of Khabib, because apparently Team Khabib aren't interested in this rematch. They're not that interested in it. They're trying to get this Mayweather boxing match. They're trying to get some big money fights.
Is that a real thing? They really want to fight Mayweather?
No, I don't think so. I think they just... Honestly, we're hearing reports that maybe it'll be Khabib and GSP. That's a big fight. That's a super fight.
Is GSP done, though?
We spoke to GSP in Sydney a few months ago, and he spoke to us about possibly fighting the Khabib and the winner of that McGregor.
See, but
Khabib
that
fight.
Possibly, like, didn't he retire?
I think it's all about the money. They retired.
Yeah.
The more they retired, the longer they retired, the more they're trying to renegotiate the contract.
And I'm not even saying does he want to fight or not. I'm saying can he fight?
Well, he came back and he beat Michael Bisping in a weight class above his natural weight class, became the champion, had the diverticulitis, sort of things going on with his intestines. He took a bit of a break. Now he's almost healthy.
How old is he?
I think
Late 30s.
34, I want to say.
It's UFC is still a young sport historically. And, these guys are science experiments in some way. We don't know the long-term effects of being a UFC fighter. We don't know the long-term, we know the long-term effects of being a boxer. We know the long-term effects of being an NFL football player. We don't know the long-term effects. There's no 70-year-old UFC guy. There's 50-year-old guys now.
Did you see Chuck Liddell is coming back and fighting Tito Ortiz later this month?
How old are they?
He's 50, I believe, Chuck Liddell. But he retired, I believe, almost 10 years ago.
I know.
Yeah.
This is not good. This is not, but this is fighting. This is just the world of fighting, boxing and UFC. I don't know what needs to happen. I love both the sports. I'm not one of these fucking people who's like, fuck boxing, I love UFC, or fuck UFC, I love boxing. To me, it's like football and basketball. I don't know why people have this divide where it's like you can only love one. I think that's stupid. Boxing isn't fighting UFC. UFC isn't fighting boxing. I want the fighters to all make money. I want them to all be taken care of. I want them to all be respected. I want them to all have health care and unions and whatever the fuck they need to do to not be fighting at 50. Because Chuck Liddell and Ortiz, you know, the glory days are over. 50-year-old men should not be doing that. Your body is not, I don't give a fuck. Oh, he's a great athlete. He takes care of himself. This is not what a 50-year-old man, I don't care what you do or how you eat. This is not what you plan to be doing at 50. You know what I mean? You're only doing this for money. It's not good. It's not safe. And it's just, it's not dignified. Not that they're not dignified and not that they don't have dignity, but the fact that they're having to do it is not dignified for the sport. You know what I'm saying? And whether it's UFC or these other sub places, it's just like they shouldn't be doing it. They shouldn't have to do it. There should be a forum for those champions. UFC should learn from boxing to figure out a way to help implement system. I don't know what it is to take care of these fighters so they're not homeless, so they're not fucked up. So there is some sort of system in place. Learn from all the pitfalls of boxing.
Well, I was going to say, how much of it do you think is just the money, and how much of it do you think is sort of the addiction
It's
aspect?
the money. Chuck Liddell doesn't want to fight anymore. I don't care what he says.
You don't think he misses sort of being in the middle of the crowd cheering his
No.
name, being in the spotlight?
No. I think that's an overrated thing. If Chuck Liddell had the money and Tito Ortiz had the money, it's like Conor McGregor. He's kind of like, is he focused on fighting? And you don't say, is he focused on fighting because he doesn't like fighting? You say, is he focused on fighting because he's making so much money this way? It's like, you guys love doing your show, right? Love it. But let's say you had fucking $20 million fall on your fucking dick.
Oh, we'd never do the show again.
See you later, guys.
So it's like you love doing the show, but you start thinking of other things. Like maybe we'll do something else. And then you'll be like, well, we'll keep doing the show. And then you'll be like, you know what, guys? We can't do this show because we're traveling to Hawaii. Or we can't do the show because we're producing this other thing. It's the same. You know, we look at these guys like they're humans. It's like, so if Conor, you know, we're saying he's not focused on the fighting. It's not because he doesn't love fighting. He's not focused on the fighting because it's like, yo, if I can make $20 million in 2 months promoting this fucking whiskey, as opposed to doing what we saw last night at the Garden or what we saw him do in 229, get his ass kicked, fuck with his legacy, which is fucking with his money, take that beating. I don't give a fuck how tough and how gallant he is. No one, that beating internally, emotionally, and physically has its toll on everybody, and it had the biggest toll on the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali. No one is beyond that toll of being a fighter. I don't give a fuck who you are, how tough you are. Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, you know, you could see the toll that it's taken on them. We see it. We don't talk about it, but we fucking see it. So,
speaking of McGregor, I mean, there's so many great trash talkers out there. You mentioned Muhammad Ali. If you had to have a top 3 or top 5, I'm just talking about combat sports in general, what would that list look like for you?
Good question. Well, obviously Ali being number 1. He was the best. McGregor, I would put them up there with number 2.
What do you think would be sort of the main defining factors why Muhammad Ali is better than Conor McGregor?
Well,
I think a lot of people would agree with
Muhammad
you.
Ali, number 1, started it. Number 2, he was extremely funny. He didn't just talk shit. He was outspoken about so many things. And we're talking about a time, you know, it's like we talk about these athletes now, like LeBron, who's very outspoken. Think about being a black American in the 60s. Forget how we think. Look at how people viewed this guy. They were like, he's like a fucking alien. Talking shit, predicting wins, outspoken, politically outspoken, black activism. We're talking about people that grew up, that owned slaves, watching this guy. That's fucking balls. So he's number 1.
Yeah.
Not even close. Even when he took it too far with Frazier, which I think he inevitably regret. He's the greatest of all time. There's no question. Yeah. So the rest are in no particular order. Obviously, Conor's great. Floyd, when he was in his first phase of Money Mayweather, it was like, what happened to this guy? Now you kind of see it's an act. And it's all sort of an act with everybody. Let me see who else is really good. Who else is great shit talkers in fighting?
What about like a Chael Sonnen?
He was all right. He was all right.
Just all right?
Yeah, I don't think he was incredible. I'm trying to think like other boxers, because there was other boxers that are like
Tyson Fury's had some interesting
Tyson
moments.
Fury's good. My man Bernard Hopkins was in a weird, like, he was really good, antagonistic, talked a lot of shit in a different kind of way. There's been but I know I'm forgetting a bunch of them, and I know people at home are like naming.
That's okay, because we're just talking about.
But it's good, it's a fun part of it, and and it's you're like when you're doing that, you're we get so involved, like, oh, he said this, he said that, and I think 99.9, even Ali, with the way he would talk about fighters, the politics and all that stuff, but the stuff about fighters, like, he was a genius because he was literally very aware that he was doing it to stir up for the fight, to sell the fight. He was promoting. Now they all know they're promoting, so that's why he's benchmark period number one.
Just talking about boxing, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are going to get it on. But do you think Anthony Joshua will ever mix it up with Deontay if he wins this fight against Fury?
Hopefully Deontay will win this fight against Fury, and then they have to fight. I know that they were. It seemed like they were close to having the fight, and then it didn't happen. I don't know why these things are so complicated. I never understand it. Hopefully that'll happen. I know that would be a big fight, exciting fight. You got an American versus a Brit. I think they should do it somewhere in England, in one of those big stadiums. And I'm rooting for Deontay.
Do you go over there? I know you and Deontay are kind of friends. Do you go over there and support him? I know I've heard you on the podcast.
I would go if I could lay it out. I would go if he fought Joshua in London. I would go. I'd be a little leery because I'm not into that, like, the fucking riots and all that stupid shit.
Yeah.
But I'm going to Staples to watch him fight Tyson Fury. What is it, the 2nd or the 8th of December? But I'm going to that shit because I'll be in Los Angeles and I'm rocking with the Bronze Bomber. You know what I mean? I want to see him. I want to see him win that fight.
He already beat the mascot at the ESPN studios. How crazy was that?
You didn't know a person was in there? What the fuck did you like? I mean, I just think that was a mistake. Was that guy really fucked up?
Apparently broken jaw.
That's almost a sick fuck of the week nomination, do you think?
That's definitely a sick fuck of the week nomination. Hashtag, like, not on purpose sick fuck of the week, but that's a sick fuck of the week for sure.
Who do you think would be the top 3 sick fucks of all time?
Jesus
I know,
Christ.
I know that's a very daunting question, but maybe just top 3 that come to your mind.
Well, I think this failed pipe bomber who sent all the pipe bombs. He's got the bad plug job. He's a sick fuck because he's got decades long of headshots, mug shots with him with different incarnations of his hair. So he's a sick fuck.
Sick fuck through the years, basically.
Yeah, he's definitely got like a decade of sick fuck shit. Yeah. And then he sent these bombs to people and they didn't work. And you're just like, what are you doing? Like, and did you think, like, in this day and age, you could send something through the mail and they wouldn't track it? So you're a sick fuck / dumb fuck. I think there's been an onslaught of who's a sick fuck? And I took a lot of shit for it. I can't remember what he tattooed. He was in Australia. He got this fucking, or New Zealand. He got this big fucking tattoo across his face. And then he was complaining that he couldn't get a job. And I was like, you dumb fuck. And the people in New Zealand, arguing with me because I called him a dumb fuck, sick fuck. And then, of course, anybody who has sex with with animals, especially their own animals, or when they have revenge sex with a girlfriend's dog. Like, my girlfriend broke up with me, or my girlfriend cheated on me, so I'm not going to, maybe cheat on her or just walk away. I'm going to fuck her dog. Those are definitely like when mentality is like, I'm going to get revenge by fucking your dog. Not fucking your best friend, or not just moving on.
There's better options there.
why is fucking the dog an option to get revenge? Like, that's way out there.
Seems like he was dating the girl to get to the dog, which is just a weird thing to do.
Yeah, what did you have your eyes on to begin with?
I know. Just go straight to the dog. Just quickly, as we wrap this up, got to get your thoughts on LeBron James and the Lakers. What's going on? Is he getting Ty Lue down to LA? Is that what's going to happen? Is Ty Lue going to switch teams and take over the Lakers to try and work with LeBron here? What do you think is going to happen?
You know, I couldn't imagine that Ty Lue would come to the Lakers, but I've been very open and honest about this. I'm a number one LeBron James, you know, on the court. It's like I talk so much shit about him as a basketball player, and I could talk so much shit about him as a basketball player and say he's far and beyond the best player in the league, at least last year. You know, people get so upset with me because they're like, you know, you're a hater and all that stuff. In sports, we accept hating of Conor McGregor. We accept hating of football player Tom Brady. We accept hating of Kobe Bryant. For some reason, LeBron James is off limits. I know he's a great person. I'm not talking about the person. I'm talking about the guy with the jersey on, with the Cleveland jersey, the Miami jersey, and now the Lakers jersey. I know he's a good guy. I know he's a good father. This isn't personal. It's like wrestling to me. It's like the persona and this isn't personal. It's business. So that being said, it's been tough these first 10 games of the NBA season to find a reason to really, really dig my claws into LeBron James. If Ty Lue comes to the Lakers, I will have probably the most ammunition I've ever had to work with. Him coming to the Lakers, but I don't see it happening. If he comes to the Lakers, I just don't see Magic Johnson doing that. Although, you know, he is the LeBron whisperer. LeBron has a shorthand with him. Ty Lue obviously knows how to coach players around LeBron James. But I don't believe in going backwards. And I just feel like Magic doing that will be like, whose team is this? And out of all the coaches, like I know there's, first of all, I don't think they're thinking about firing Luke Walton. But if they did, you know, whether it's 10 games into the season, 20 games into the season, 30 games into the season, I guess the only person where it could be like you could, like be like a one-stop shop where it's like, you know, sort of a pick up and go would be Ty Lue. Because other coaches, they have to find the system. You have to get to know players. Ty Lue's like, he knows how to deal with LeBron. They're talking about guys like Mark Jackson. He has to sort of figure it out. So if they do get rid of, Luke Walton, and they brought, I guess if they did do that, maybe it's the best opportunity to do something good this year, because I don't think that the Lakers, they're going to be a problem this year. They have enough talent to be a major problem. When he gets going, like he's like a savant. When he starts to figure it out, LeBron, when he starts sort of, downloading the information, he could go to the Knicks, the Orlando Magic, the fucking any team, and like once he sort of processes it, it's on and popping. Although, listen, Father Time is undefeated. Not that he's at the end of his career, but it's like I don't think you could after what he did last year in the playoffs and that high level of carrying your team. Even LeBron James is going to have a threshold that you can't keep matching it. He'll still be, he's so great. He'll still be, better than everybody. But it's going to start, the gap will start closing. So that's my NBA shit. It's still early in the season, It's like with LeBron, you expect 10-0, but we'll see.
Well, I'll tell you what, I look forward to the emergency I Am Rapaport podcast if that does happen. Guys, Michael Rapaport, check out Atypical, streaming on Netflix. Congratulations for season 3. It's a fantastic show.
Thank you.
Of course, I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast, one of the best programs out there. Mike, thanks for being so accommodating. This is great.
No, I appreciate it. I'm glad we finally
enjoy the Vegemite. Show them the Vegemite.
The Vegemite. You said to go easy on
Go easy on it, because we don't want anything to happen to you.
Why? What can happen if you eat too much Vegemite? For somebody who's never had Vegemite, what would happen?
I think your tongue would fall off, and you would never taste anything ever again.
The vocal cords, they're gold. You're one of the best trash talkers out there. We can't have us being blamed for this.
Right, because you guys would wind up being the sick fucks.
Yeah. Yes.
Right,
thank you so much, Mike.
That was dope.